Aloha and welcome to another episode of the Hawaii Food and Farmers series. I'm your co-host, Justini Spiritu. This is my sidekick, Matthew Johnson. Sidekick. As a reminder, we're here every Thursday featuring farmers from all over the state and kind of getting their background story of what kind of products they're selling, getting the history of the farm, why they do what they do, as well as featuring other folks that are part of our food system to get a really whole view of what's going on and get an idea of what we see for the future of local food and local ag in Hawaii. So you can always join the conversation on Twitter. Tweet us your questions or comments at ThinkTechHigh.
So today we have a guest joining us from the Big Island, and they are from Kona Coast Organics. So we have Heidi and Joe visiting with us. So I guess, Heidi, you actually live here on Oahu, and then Joe, you're based over on the Kona side, is that correct?
Yep, I'm the farmer.
All right, great. And so it's great. You guys are such huge fans of the show that you found us on Think Tech, and I believe you were tweeting us or emailing us. So really happy to have you on here. And we're going to do things a little bit differently. Instead of getting into your guys' background, really want to give you guys an opportunity to talk about the fundraiser, kind of what you're doing right now. So give us a little background on what's happening with your guys' farm and what you're doing with the fundraiser.
Okay, thank you.
Well, farming-wise, we are an organic hydroponic operation running inside of a greenhouse. We have lettuce and cherry tomatoes and basil. And we don't harvest heads of lettuce, we harvest salad mix. We take the outside leaves off, which you'll see in one moment in this video. You'll see the ladies harvesting. And then the plant keeps growing. But anyway, one of our customers is the food bank of the Big Island, known as the Food Basket. They have both Kona and Hilo branches. And the Hilo branch is so large, we can't produce enough for them yet. Oh. We are servicing Kona. In fact, I just got the order on my cell phone a few minutes ago from the people to how much they're going to need on Monday. So we're looking for funding to help us develop more of these towers that you see on here. Well, that's Lisette, a wonderful lady from Holland, who's harvesting lettuce. You see she's pulling the outside leaves off and leaving the rest of the plant. And so we're looking for funding to help us build more of these racks. And these racks allow us to produce about 40% more than you could in any kind of flat system. Okay, because that's basil there.
So it's almost like a trellis type system of hydroponics.
Exactly, and the water flows through and then it flows back into the tank and gets recycled. So we use very, very little water.
Cool.
And so the fundraiser is to buy more racks.
Yeah, to build more racks. Yeah, we built all of this. So obviously, we buy the pipe and the wood, and we build it all. And there are the ladies transplanting. But we have room for another whole row of racks, which will add 50% to our production.
There's more room in the greenhouse that you're in?
Yeah,
okay.
I'm not sure if you'll see a view that you can see that there's enough space for another row of racks.
Okay.
And plus the money would go for more labor and just everything to bring the operations to full capacity, because we have a lot of room to grow right now.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about the relationship with the Food Basket, which is a food. So I'm familiar with the Food Basket. So they start off as a traditional food bank, but now they've also added on some other programs and have a stronger relationship with local farmers?
Well, they run a CSA. Are you familiar with those terms? A lot of your viewers probably are. But their CSA is unusual in that it's a very, very, very low cost for people who are on food stamps or EBT. Okay, and then you could be not on food stamps and still join the CSA. It's just a higher cost.
Yeah.
And so they buy everything from local farmers. It's not all organic, but a lot of it is. And the minute I heard about them, I called them up and I said, whoa, hey, you have salad mix? They said, no. I said, would you like some? They said, yeah.
Oh, great.
And they're just such nice people.
Yeah.
And it's a big place in my heart. I've farmed in a lot of other places, and I've always gotten involved in the food bank any chance I could, because I think people need the good food.
Have you seen that combination before of your traditional food bank with a CSA type program?
Not a CSA, but there was a food bank in Austin that would take produce. but it wasn't like they didn't contract with farmers. Farmers would just show up there with excess, and they'd dial it into their
okay.
members, right?
Yeah.
This is different. This is where, I get an order every week, or every other week at this point in time. We're saving it till we can grow enough to do Kona one week and Hilo the next, because Hilo's large.
Yeah.
It's got, I think, over 200 members,
Wow.
and just about 100 in Kona.
Great.
So, yeah, it's spectacular. I like the people, and I love the idea. I just love the idea of getting the top quality food to the people who can afford it the least.
So then is that a whole new business venture for you, that side of the kind of CSA model? Right now, are you primarily serving grocery stores or restaurants?
Yeah.
So that's going to bring a
this
whole new
operation,
shift of...
I'm sorry. But with this operation, yeah, it's new for us to do that. Now, I've done CSAs in the past because I've been a farmer for 38 years. But, yeah, it's new. And again, when I heard about the food bank, I literally called them the next day. I said, wow,
And that's great too, because I know one of the challenges with the food bank, they're typically have to serve their clientele the food that's being donated. And a lot of times it's not the healthiest food in traditional food bank, whether it's packaged, processed, a lot of soda, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's great that they're mixing in really top quality, good food, and you guys are helping them do that.
And super fresh, not just ours. I mean, all of it's super fresh. It's an amazing operation. I'm so pleased to be involved with them.
And then so for some quick information about the fundraiser, where can folks learn more about that?
Okay, yeah, on the website, it's barnraiser.us. And then the name of the project is it's expanding operations to growing organic greens
To supply the food bank or something?
to supply the nonprofit food bank. It's a real long name. So if you go on to barnraiser.us.
We need to come up with an acronym or something.
I know. So they have, anyway, you can just scroll through all there's 20 or so projects they have. And we have 6 days left to meet the minimum $5,000 deadline. So by Tuesday at 6:59 p.m., we need to make another $1,400.
Okay, so you guys are getting close, yeah.
Yeah, so
we're getting
our
close.
stretch goal is to like $20,000, but I don't know if we're going to make that, but we really would like a green boost to really get this operation to full capacity so that we can continue to serve top quality pesticide and GMO-free food to the residents of Hawaii and the food bank.
Yeah, and that's awesome because I mean your farm's not a nonprofit, right? And this isn't even like a non-profit kind of project that you're doing, but the idea, even as a for-profit company, the idea of kind of having a fundraiser and asking folks to kind of support that is just a way people can contribute and participate in a special project that you guys are doing to give that kind of access. I think that's important. Sometimes you have a for-profit company and it's like, why are you asking for money or why are you trying to do a fundraiser? But these things cost money and it's great to have a whole community kind of participate in that.
Yeah, and the thing is that we had the space and we always knew we wanted to expand into it. And we're doing okay with what we're doing now, but we're not making enough of a profit to fund building the other towers. And the thing about the towers is once they're built, they produce so quickly. Literally, those images you saw on the video of the little tiny plants, it's 28 days from that till harvesting them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Right,
I
it's
mean, that's
really
the great
fast.
thing with lettuce.
So
right?
I've got a great carpenter who will come in and build everything, and literally like a month and a half after the Barnraiser project is over, we'll be up and running and producing lettuce for the Hilo side of the food bank.
Okay.
Awesome.
We have to do a walk-in too because we don't, at this point in time, we don't refrigerate anything. Like if we're delivering to the Kona food bank on Monday, we're harvesting it Monday morning.
Oh, wow.
So it's super fresh. But to get it to Hilo, we have to have it to them very early on Monday morning. So we'd have to pick it on Sunday,
Yeah, stored overnight.
store it overnight, and then take it
So
to
we need to
them.
build a walk-in cooler, another one of the associated expenses.
Yeah, that's one of the first things. In fact, maybe even before we build the towers, we will do that.
Okay.
But like I say, we can produce 50% more in the space we already have, so.
Wow. And so with the barnraiser.us, that's the
Yeah,
website.
that's projects, growing organic greens to service a nonprofit food bank.
Okay.
That's the whole title.
All right. And so, and maybe if they were to kind of type in the name of your guys' farm, Kona Coast Organics. Well, hopefully that'll pop up at the website and pull up the project. So is it kind of like Kickstarter? So if we go on and contribute some money, what is the extra, obviously benefiting your guys and getting more food out on the Big Island and also with the food bank? Are there any direct benefits if somebody contributes some funds?
Sure, we have a few donation rewards. They could, depending on what amount they donate, they would get bumpers, stickers, magnets, a tour of the greenhouses, the facility, and maybe we're going to throw something else, t-shirts, throw something else in the next few days.
Yeah, I used to be a graphics designer, so I'll put together some nice stuff for people.
Nice. Nice. Okay.
We thank everybody for the donations we've got so far. And we really appreciate it.
really.
So thank you.
Yeah, awesome. I mean, $1,400 by Tuesday, that sounds doable.
Yeah.
Great. So why don't we back up a little bit? And so you mentioned some of the products you have is the lettuces and the basil and tomatoes.
Cherry tomatoes, but they're still a little ways off. Tomatoes take a long time.
Yeah.
It's not like lettuce where I can get it up in 28 days. It takes like 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you guys want to kind of explain why you picked those?
There's our cherry tomato label. They're very exotic cherry tomatoes, and they're all either artisan or heirloom.
Oh, okay.
Wow, yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I'm always interested to hear. Some farms have like a huge variety of things they're growing, but it seems like you guys have a couple of niche products. If you kind of wanted to explain your tactic with that or how you've kind of focused.
Well, to be honest, when I moved back to the Big Island 2.5 years ago, I didn't plan on farming again. I was managing a bed and breakfast. That's how I met Heidi. She came to a retreat there. And, but I looked around and I thought, you know what there isn't on this island? And I came up with a couple of crops, and I knew I could do well with the lettuce. I had an operation in Austin, Texas that had 30,000 heads of lettuce growing at a time for salad mix, all certified organic, in 2 huge greenhouses. And I knew that I had grown cherry tomatoes here in the past and that they could grow. But nobody was doing like a fancy cherry tomato mix. It was all either red or yellow or a little bit of red and a little bit of yellow, but nothing as interesting as these. I mean, we have ones that are called black, green tiger,
Bumblebee,
Oh, wow.
sunshine bumblebee.
Yeah, I mean, when you
pink
go
bumblebee.
through like the Johnny's seed catalogs and you hear all these great names and see all these there's such a huge variety.
Actually, that's where I'm getting my tomato seeds.
Awesome.
and
Johnny's.
they taste fantastic. When you
Oh.
walk to the greenhouse and pull one off, and you're just like, oh my God, they just melt in your
Each of them
mouth.
tastes different.
Yeah.
And like the green ones are the most flavorful. It's amazing.
Really?
Yeah, you'd think
That
they
doesn't
wouldn't
mean
be.
they're like under.
No, this
right.
one is a green tomato with orange stripes. It's called green tiger.
Okay.
And so it's a very interesting mix, and they all taste different. Like I had a salad this morning of just different tomatoes,
Yeah.
and each one was a different taste. It's great, and they look beautiful too. So
All right. Great. I want to talk a little bit more about your lettuce varieties and your other products, but we're going to take a quick 1-minute break, and then we'll get right back to it.
Aloha, my name is Jeff James, and I'd like to invite you to watch my show, The Military in Hawaii. It'll be shown every Friday at 11 a.m. here on thinktech.com. Aloha.
Aloha, my name is Kirsten Baumgart-Turner, and I'm the host of Sustainable Hawaii at thinktechhawaii.com. We air live on the internet and also on Oceanic Channel 16. I'd invite you to come for a fresh new show every Tuesday from 12 to 1 o'clock. I try to bring on guests that give us a different viewpoint on aspects of sustainability in Hawaii, as well as trying to unpack some of the difficult concepts of measuring and achieving sustainability, particularly with regard to sustainable economic growth and prosperity in Hawaii. Please join us every Tuesday from 12 to 1 p.m. Mahalo, aloha.
Aloha and welcome back to our second segment of the Hawaii Food and Farmers series. My name is Justine Espiritu. My sidekick's name is Matthew Johnson. And today we have Heidi and Joe from Kona Coast Organics. So we ended the last segment talking about your really unique varieties of tomatoes. Do you have the same kind of variety for the lettuce and the basil?
We draw our salad mix from 6 varieties of lettuce, a couple of reds, a couple of one green leaf, romaine, and
Any
then
spicy mustard?
No, this is purely a lettuce mix. Okay, in the past I used to do a spicy mix. In fact, in Texas, I had a mix that we called crazy greens, or in Italian pazzo verde, which means crazy green, because it literally had 21 different salad vegetables in it, and a lot of spicy ones. This is purely lettuce. This you're looking at right here is called Cherokee, which is really, to me, the most beautiful lettuce I've ever seen. It's awesome, and it has a really crisp texture and very, very dark red, which even in the heat of Texas or in Hawaii, it's hard to get red lettuce to be really red.
Yeah.
Because the heat tends to bleed it out, right, and make it more green.
How did it get the name Cherokee?
That I don't have any idea. I know it's an old variety that they've rediscovered. That part I don't know. I don't think it really was grown by
Sometimes
Cherokees.
they just seem kind of made up.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's a beautiful, beautiful lettuce and performs really well in the greenhouse too.
Okay. What about the basil?
Now basil, I literally got the original seeds from Italy. I have an acquaintance who owns a seed company that imports from Italy. So I got organic Italian basil seeds, and then I grow my own seeds.
Oh, okay.
But we grow it differently, or we sell it differently. There it is, right there. Perfect timing.
Wow.
What we
Producer's
do
on
is
fire.
we don't like cut it and put it in little packages with a little sprig of basil that you can't do anything with, right? We take the entire plant out of the system, pull the plastic cups off, wrap the roots in paper towels, dip them in water, and then put them into a plastic bag and with a rubber band around it, so it'll last for a week or 10 days that way. But you have a bunch of plants. There's not one plant in each of one of those pukas. There's like a dozen.
Yeah.
So then you just store that in your refrigerator?
No,
in
actually,
this
when you
bag?
get it home, you don't. You take it out of the plastic bag and stick it in like a coffee mug on your kitchen counter, and it stays alive for a week.
Okay.
A
That's
week
kind of
to
what
10
people
days.
do with like avocado seeds and stuff.
Well, that's like starting an avocado
but
seed, yeah.
Just the same kind
But
of.
this is the roots are still on it, so the roots will keep it alive. Now it won't grow necessarily, but it'll keep it alive and keep it. If you buy basil so often in the store, you put it in the refrigerator, it turns black overnight.
Right.
This won't turn black as long as you keep moisture in there. It'll just stay fresh and beautiful.
And these are all heirloom seeds as well, the basil
Yeah,
and
the basil's
lettuce?
Genovese basil from Italy. It's the real thing. I mean, when you're talking heirlooms in Italy, it's like 500 years old.
Heirloom to the heirloom. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, great. I just love to hear kind of the variety and farms that kind of take advantage of that wide variety. But let's kind of
Can I
get
ask you a
into...
question? I want to ask you a question. Can I ask a question?
I was going to pass it off to you.
I have a question I want to ask Heidi, because this has been driving me nuts ever since I heard this. So you met Joe at this retreat, at this bed and breakfast that Joe was working at, former farmer. Do you have farming experience before Kona Coast?
A little bit from 4-H when I was a kid. I come from a
4-H?
farming family.
Okay.
Yeah, I used to grow huge beets and corn and all kinds of stuff, and enter in the fair and get blue ribbons and.
So isn't like 4-H? So you try to grow like the largest beet or something like that, or you have the best looking cow, like what? Because we did have
The
FFA on.
Yeah.
And I
FFA
guess
is different
It's
than
a little
4-H.
different than 4-H.
Yeah.
Similar concept where it's a program for students, usually middle school or high school. Yeah. So that was kind of your introduction into farming.
Yeah, we had an acre of land when I was a kid growing up in Southern California, and we just, we grew everything that I possibly could. We grew zucchinis, 3 feet long.
What?
It was fun, but yeah, I had a lot of experience farming.
Was that
as a
award
kid.
winning? Did you get a ribbon for that?
Actually, you're not supposed to let them grow that large.
You
But
got
I did
disqualified.
Yeah, sorry, I'm too good at what I do.
So,
Okay, so sorry, go ahead. Take it away.
my turn.
Do we have to separate you two?
We might have to. Maybe the first time. So you guys met, but how did it come about that you're like, okay, let's start up a hydroponic organic farm on the Kona Coast? Like, how did that come about?
Well, this retreat I was at, he was the manager and the chef and doing everything, and he was out in the back with these towers and these flatbeds growing all kinds of products to serve everybody for the meals. And we just started talking, and one thing led to another, and he's completely organic. He told me his background, and I totally think the quality of the food we put in our bodies is extremely important right now when I eat all organic food. And so he wanted to start up an operation. He just moved back and he was looking for some investment opportunities or funding. And so we just kept talking over the next couple months. And so I went over there and we just made it happen.
And it just so happened that an old acquaintance of mine, again, I've been a farmer, I was a farmer on the Big Island starting in 1978, and someone I've known since then has a farm that had 5 greenhouses not being used as greenhouses.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't know. And we went there because I was looking for a place to live, and he said he had a place that maybe I could rent. And we're driving down, and there's these greenhouses. I said, what are those? He said, well, I used to have a mushroom operation, but it's closed, and they haven't been used since. So I said, well, I was going to go build greenhouses on a friend's property.
Okay.
I said, well, can I rent them from you? And he said, yeah. So that's where we are.
That's kind of what made the deal happen. When we were looking at some property you were going to lease, and then we found these greenhouses, and then gave me all the numbers, and it's like, wow, we could provide a tremendous amount of organic greens to the people in Hawaii just from these 2 little greenhouses using hardly any water, hardly any CO2 output, hardly any energy, and we're using state-of-the-art fertilizer that gets recirculated through the system. Tell me about the fertilizer. I think this is the most exciting thing about the operation.
Well, a number of years ago, about 14 years ago, in Texas, I was growing in the ground. I was growing, it was all organic, but it was in the ground. And I started experimenting with greenhouse growing and hydroponics, and I couldn't find an organic hydroponic fertilizer. And there's a difference between a hydroponic fertilizer and a liquid fertilizer.
Yeah.
A hydroponic fertilizer has to be immediately available. When it hits the roots of the plant's going to be able to take it up and use it. Liquid fertilizers like fish emulsion, maxi crop, which is seaweed, those kind of things, they have to break down so the plant doesn't get the use of it right away. It takes a while. So I checked every month. I would go on the list of new organic products that were legal to be used in certified organic systems. And one month, boom, there's this fertilizer.
Oh, wow.
It just appeared.
And I looked at it, and they weren't saying it was hydroponic, but everything it said made sense. It was vegan-based, it had all the micronutrients, it was pH balanced, and the micronutrients were all chelated, which means they could immediately be absorbed. Just like if you take chelated vitamins, they absorb into your system faster, right? So I called the company, and they put me on with the owner, the guy who invented it all. And we ended up on a first name basis, and he sent me some to try, and it was unbelievable. And then when I got ready to do it in Austin, they had a supposed distributor there who was not really carrying their product, and I called them up. I said, hey, you want to sell this stuff in Texas? They said, yeah. I said, make me a distributor. So they did, and I'm a distributor here in Hawaii now, too.
Okay, and so is that why I think I've heard from a lot of people that hydroponics or aquaponics can never be organic, and is this?
See, it's a misnomer because it used to be impossible, basically, but now it is.
With this new fertilizer.
Well, and there are other fertilizers, but the thing is, the others all come from Holland, and they're phenomenally expensive. And they also don't have the whole range of, this is a one-stop shop. You pour the stuff in, it's a pH balanced, it's got all your nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, it's got all your micronutrients in just a really good quantity. And all the others
take it up immediately.
The roots take it literally, as it passes under the roots, it gets sucked up and used. That's why they grow so fast. I mean, that's why I'm able to harvest in 28 days, And in Texas, I grew in big flat tanks, and you could literally see the fertilizer get absorbed. You'd pour it in, and it's kind of tan colored, and would cover the bottom of the tank.
Yeah.
And the next day you came back, and there was no tan color, it was gone. It had been sucked up by the plants in just one day, So that's what we use, and it's fantastic. And I've got some other hydroponic farmers that are using it now.
Okay.
On the Big Island.
It's amazing, and it's vegan-based, so, some people really care about that. I don't. It's not an issue with me, but,
I don't care.
yeah.
What is
Are you
that?
telling me
So
to
wait,
leave?
no. So what? Can you explain what would make it vegan or not vegan?
Well, there are fertilizers that have animal products in them.
Like
This
the
is
bacon fertilizer?
Yeah,
Or
bacon.
are the fish guts? What's
Yeah,
it?
fish fertilizer,
What is
you
it
know,
called? No, it's got
fish
like
emulsion.
No, it's got like Miller.
Millet?
Millet?
I don't know.
Sorry, just whispered something. I didn't get it.
They used to make a great
Manure.
Oh, manure. Yeah, like manure. Those are animal products, right?
Okay.
And this is all made from plant materials, And it's just the way this guy figured out. He's still the only one who figured out how to do this all organically, everything that he does, and it's spectacular stuff.
And so have people been getting this from you as a
Yeah,
distributor?
actually, well, I won't talk too much about it because I need to be discreet, but it's experienced farmers in water-based systems who weren't happy with the fertilizer they were able to either make or use. And I gave them my stuff, and they went, whoa, you know, like within a month, you know, they saw big differences in their growth.
All right.
So that's what we've got.
Cool.
One more question. What about aeroponics? I get a little confused with like
I do
hydroponics,
have-
aquaponics, aeroponics.
I do have tomatoes. The tomatoes are in aeroponic towers.
And that's where you have to or there's a sprinkler system
There's a
that.
sprinkler system that comes on regularly every hour and sprinkles the roots. To be honest, we've had some problems only because the organic fertilizer tends to clog up the sprinkler system. Because there are solids in the organic fertilizer that get stuck in the small drippers, right?
Sure.
But when it's working, it's amazing. Tomato plants, the roots are like this long.
And so what would be the alternative? Why would you want to use aeroponics rather than
Well,
hydroponics?
with tomatoes, it's more suitable because their roots don't like to sit in water all the time.
Okay.
And then
Okay.
we're maximizing the use of the greenhouse because we have, that one side has 180 vertical towers. So if all of those are,
Yeah, literally, if
Producing.
the greenhouse is full, it's the equivalent of a half an acre of cherry tomatoes
Wow.
growing in one 1,500 square foot greenhouse. Those are what the towers look like.
So talk about, you guys are growing this in the greenhouse. One other thing that's becoming more popular, one of the past guests that we had, is growing like urban farming, especially in a place like here in Honolulu. How about using this technology in an urban indoor type environment? I imagine it.
absolutely, I'll go ahead and say.
You go ahead, please.
As a pilot project, for me to really understand how it works and all that, he gave me the materials, a list of materials to go to the store and buy. And so I have a little tub and 2 towers on my lanai at my house.
Oh, okay.
And with just a little teeny pump for like $100 to $125, you can put together a whole system with 2 little towers. And when it was just maxed out lettuce and basil and tomatoes and hot peppers and green peppers right on my lanai.
Yeah.
So it's suitable for any urban area.
And then you start adding on. So I imagine the biggest electrical cost is the pump system that you have to
The
have in
pump
place.
is almost nothing.
Oh, okay.
It's a fraction of an amp.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there's not a lot of cost, and you know we use almost no water. To give you an idea of how severe the difference is in the amount of water we use versus conventional farming. When I was in Austin, I had just under 4 acres of vegetables in the ground, and we needed 12,000 gallons of water a day to irrigate those crops. Here, I can produce the same amount of food in 2 greenhouses using about 50 or 60 gallons of water a week.
Wow.
That's like 0.000, it's like 10,000ths of the amount of water
Yeah.
that it took to grow them in the ground. And the other knock on hydroponics, and again, this is partly because they've usually all been grown chemically, is that they don't produce as much nutrients. But I want to tell you, with the nutrients that are in the fertilizer that I feed them, it grows with more nutrients than you can get out of the ground.
Cool. Well, it sounds like you guys are on to something amazing. So we're going to take another quick break and kind of talk about the future of the farm and how you guys are going to take over and feed everybody.
Okay.
Okay. We'll be
Hi, I'm Donna Blanchard. I'm the host of Center Stage on the Think Tech Hawaii Digital Network. On Center Stage, every Wednesday at 2 p.m., we talk to artists of all different ilk, playwrights, novelists, poets, singers, sculptors, you name it. We've had all kinds of interesting people on, and we always talk about what they do and how they do it. And what I find most interesting, we talk about why they do what they do, the process of art, what it does for us and our humanity. I hope that you will come and join us, and maybe you'll get inspired to bring out your creative spirit as well. That's Center Stage on Wednesdays at 2 o'clock on the Think Tech Hawaii Digital Network.
Aloha! How you doing? It's me, Angus McTech, wishing you to welcome and join us to see us on Hibachi Talk on Think Tech Hawaii. Join my co-hosts, Gordo the Tech Czar and Andrew the Security Guy, every Friday from 1300 to 1345. We look forward to seeing you. We'll talk tech and we'll have some wee bit of fun. And remember, let your wing gang free wherever you be. Aloha!
On Heidi out when we need to, but she is on a roll.
I had laryngitis a couple of weeks ago, and I speculated to a friend that there were probably 1,000 people around the world who'd be celebrating if they knew I had laryngitis.
No.
Wait, are we?
Yeah, Welcome back to Hawaii Food and Farmers Series. We have two lovely guests, Kona Coast Organics. So we got to hear all about their hydroponics and aquaponics and aeroponics and growing some great varieties of tomatoes and lettuce and basil. And Matt is going to take the lead starting right now.
Yes, thank you, Justine. So we're kind of talking about what is the future of your guys' farm. So you're doing a lot of work getting your hydroponic systems in place, and you're doing the fundraiser right now at barnraiser.us and getting a fundraiser to put up. We need about $1,400 more to be able to start supplying more to the food bank for the program that they're doing. So kind of talking about the future. So let's assume the fundraiser, you get all of the funding that you're looking for. You guys go ahead and you put in this next system. Talk about the kind of like going beyond, like, so you're able to service more with the food bank, but what's next after that? Where do we go from there? Because you guys have an amazing technology. You're talking about the amount of water that you're saving, and you're able to basically do the same amount of production on a fourth of the land as if you were doing conventional farming. I mean, this is a big deal what you guys are doing. So I'm sure you guys are having bigger visions and what you want to see have happen for local ag in Hawaii.
Well, we've only been in business for a year, a little bit over a year now.
Oh, wow.
So we're really getting through the growing pains, and that this $5,000 was a minimum goal. If we don't get $1,400 by next Tuesday, we don't get any of the $5,000.
Okay.
We were really stretching for $20,000. And that would really put us into full production, where then we could relax and really be of service to the community, and then start sharing the technology with everybody, with the other farmers, other programs. We're a member of the Hawaii Food Union. I haven't been active yet, but I'm just starting to get
Farmers
it.
Union.
HFUU?
Farmers Union.
Yeah. So I really want to get more active and I'm a member of Kokua Market and really start sharing the technology. For me, it's all a learning experience. Joe's the technical expert here, so. But really, we want to show, partner with the farming community and anybody who's interested who would like to have this in their home, their yard, urban areas or larger scale.
Yeah, I have a home version of it, like the one
Okay.
I showed Heidi, that you can put on a deck on a lanai. You could actually even do it indoors if you wanted to, if you could get light to it. And now they have these really inexpensive LED grow lights, except they're bright pink. I don't know how it would go with people's decor. But, you could do it indoors, you could do it in warehouses, you could do it on rooftops, you could, it's very simple, very straightforward, very low input, not a lot of juice. Even my big pumps are less than an amp each.
Wow.
And they'll do 3,600 gallons an hour on less than an amp. They're very efficient. So.
Do you think you're going to add other products? What else? I guess I always have this idea that it's
just
it's
talking
kind
about
of
that today.
limited, but you can grow.
Well, the thing is, if we get into doing farmers markets and stuff like that, which is something we're very close to, then it would make sense to grow a lot of other crops.
Have that variety.
But when we're selling mainly wholesale, then 1 or 2 crops or 3 grown really well in real strong quantities is the way that you can make money. I mean, it's hard to make money when you're growing 30 different things. Trust me, when I was growing in the ground in Austin, I had my own CSA and I had 32 different crops going at one time, all the time.
Oh my God.
And keeping up with the technology on each, because each is a little different when it needs it.
Yeah.
Very hard. But we will add some other things.
What would be something that's on the queue?
Kale.
Those
Kale's very
those
big
mini
business.
cucumbers.
I found these mini cucumbers. They're
Guggen?
amazing.
Oh, like Kirby's?
They're this big. They
Oh.
look
Oh,
like a
like
cherry tomato. It's like a
Guggen.
cherry cucumber.
Wow.
Guggen goobers or something? like
Yeah, those.
Gherkin goobers? That's what I'm going to call them. If we do this, I'm going to call them gherkin goobers. That's it. I swear, I was trying to think of a name, right? Because somebody's already using.
Wow, nailed it.
Somebody's
right
already
there.
using cakey cukes. I couldn't do that. Actually, he's an acquaintance of mine. Gherkin goobers.
You can just change it every time. You just whatever spills out of your
Anyway.
mouth.
But they're awesome. They're from Mexico, and they look like a mini watermelon. They're
Oh.
called Cuca Melons, literally, because they look like a watermelon, but it's a very lemony flavored cucumber.
That's not something that would grow on like a vine? Or
It
that's-
grows just like a tomato,
Okay.
long vines. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, things like that. They're hard to get the seeds for, but, you know, I have found some. But kale's huge, you know, everybody loves kale these days.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think I've ever heard of that hydroponically or aquaponically grown. So
Kale?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, we grow just like lettuce. It grows just like lettuce. And because of the way we harvest, or where we're not gonna cut down whole heads, you could do it in a hydroponic system because you can take
You know
leaves
where I've
off.
seen that? At the Giants Stadium in San Francisco.
Oh, I
they
bet.
have, yeah, collards
Yeah,
and
they've
kales.
got towers.
Oh,
Yeah.
They've got towers.
Yeah.
I've seen photographs of that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's where I've
yeah,
seen it.
yeah. And you know, I'm growing chard now at the base of my tomato towers. They're not in the picture that you see there, but because the tomato towers tend to overwater, I put buckets at the bottom of each tower
Oh, okay.
filled with planting soil
Yeah.
and put chard in it, and I'm growing huge, beautiful chard.
Oh, neat.
And it's a freebie. I don't have to add any fertilizer or water or anything. It just grows. Stick the seeds in the ground. And I've only grown enough for myself at this point in time.
Right.
But, you know, we could essentially do kale that way too. In fact, in Texas, I had kale and chard at the bottom of my towers. And it was a crop, you know. Texas, like Hawaii, they last for 2 years, you know, before you have to replant them.
Yeah. They're amazing.
So it sounds like, in addition to you guys growing different crops and growing more and getting more wholesale type accounts, you want to do outreach and kind of show this technology to other growers. So how is that, you know, aren't you afraid that you're creating more competition, or, and what's your thoughts behind that? How would that work?
I think we're all in this together. You know, everybody's got to join together, support each other, and share the technology. And personally, I think if we're going to save ourselves from ourselves on this planet, everybody needs to have love and respect for each other and start treating each other like that. And because the ecosystems, you know, the way we've been managing our natural resources on the planet, the ecosystems are undergoing extreme stress, our oceans, and all of that. So this is the first step, you know, in partnering with people, sharing the technology, and actually putting good, organic, wholesome food in our bodies so we can live healthy, productive lives. And I don't know if we're going on that tangent, but yeah, we're starting to realize the science and the medical industry is realizing that all these diseases and cancer and all that stuff that we have is a product of being our environment and the foods we put in our body. And so we really there's no need to have all those ailments, you know, it's ridiculous. If we just ate clean pesticide and GMO-free food and get off the processed foods, we could get rid of a lot of the diseases and illnesses we have. So it's a long, big answer, but it's just tying all of it together, you know, that's part of the outreach initiative, to live as one, share, eat, and, you know, healthy, productive food for healthy, productive lives.
Yeah, I've already built racks for one of my fertilizer customers who was growing lettuce aquaponically and realized that the fish were kind of a money loser. And so we built some racks for him, and he's growing
For your competition.
basil and lettuce
You
there.
built your competition, so.
You know, I
We're all
don't
in
see
this
them.
together,
That's
Justine.
awesome. That's great.
No, I don't really see them as competition. They're my friends, and we work together. He helps me with things, I help him with things, and there's enough market here.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's so much junk being brought in from the mainland to be fed to Hawaiians, people who live in Hawaii, that there's plenty of room to push them
Absolutely.
out. I don't have to push out local farmers. I push out the junk from the mainland.
Especially
Push
when
out the
you're-
stuff that's being imported. You know, we
Yeah.
don't need that.
Especially when you're just trying to service the food bank. I mean, that's just an initial
Yeah.
market that you guys are looking at, let alone all the restaurants and stores.
Well, I am in some grocery stores too, though. I mean, we are selling quite a bit wholesale, and I've been inquired by some famous chefs about it, you know, and so we might be selling to restaurants too, and it's just a matter of volume. I got to grow enough, you know.
So right now you're not shipping anything to Oahu, though. It's all.
Not yet.
No.
Yeah.
It's all getting absorbed on the Big Island, and I think it would be a very long time before we would have more than we could sell on the Big Island. Because it's so fresh too. I mean, like I said, we harvest things and it's in the store within 24 hours of when it was harvested.
Yeah, it's incredible.
You go to any of the major grocery stores and you get the packaged lettuce mixes, they're 10, 12 days old
Right.
before you even get them out of the store. And that's a big difference. I can tell you that in Austin, where I had a substantial operation, in all the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of cases of lettuce mix I sold, I never had a single return.
Wow.
Because they don't go bad.
Because it's so fresh.
Yeah. So, and it has more nutrients when it's fresh and everything else. Plus, we minimally dry it. Like when you buy that stuff in the stores, it's literally been dehydrated, otherwise it will mold in the amount of time it's going to be in the trucks and buses and boats, and warehouses. So they literally have dehydrating machines that take most of the moisture out. Ours is the opposite. Ours is still a little bit damp after we dry it. So it's really fresh and crispy.
There's the tomatoes.
Here's some of our tomatoes.
Oh, wow, those are beautiful.
See the one on the upper right, that's the green tiger.
Oh, yeah.
The yellow one in the middle is called blush. The one on the bottom left is called
Grapes.
grape. It's called
Is it
grape.
grape? It
Yeah.
looks like grapes.
We have one even darker
Have
than
an
that.
explanation.
Literally looks like a grape tomato.
We have one even darker than that called indigo, which is like dark, like eggplant colored.
I like you there with your bandana, the farming bandana on.
Oh, I always have to wear something like that. I sweat a lot, what can I tell you?
Great. Well, so we only have a couple minutes left, like 2 minutes exactly. Is there anything else special to mention?
Well, one of my passions is stopping GMOs, and one of the reasons I'm so proud of being in Hawaii is that this state has taken the lead on blocking either the growth of or the sale of without labeling GMOs. I'm so proud of that, I can't tell you, because GMOs are a real trap. It's really scary. It's putting the future of our food sources in the hands of a chemical company that made 2,4-D, which was a horrible insecticide. Another one of the companies that promotes GMOs made Agent Orange. So why do we want to put our food source in the hands of people who make poison? I don't trust them. I don't believe anything they say. And it doesn't grow better food. It doesn't grow more food. That's been proven over and over and over again. And this is the only country in the industrialized world that hasn't stopped it. And it's only because they're big, powerful people who pay people a lot of money. I won't get into the political people who are running for office right now who give speeches about GMOs.
Because they might be watching right now.
Oh
so
no,
that's good.
I hope she is. Oh, what did I say?
Oh no,
Well,
you've already said too much.
It's such an interesting place for agriculture for sure, and there's a lot of controversial things going on and politics around it, and I really love to see people that are passionate and they kind of act out their passion of what they believe in by doing, starting their own operations like what you guys have done to really set an example of this is what you believe in and this is what you're gonna put out there. And it's really great that not only, you could just be doing this for yourself, but giving it as a product to the rest of the community is really great.
Yeah, thank you. And you are what you eat. It's so important. I think I'm so proud to be in this. I wanted to be in this so that we could have pure, healthy, organic food. And so that it's also part of the reconnecting with who we are, with all that is. And every ancient culture, and Hawaiians included, everybody knows that they're in touch with our ecosystems. And so it's just bringing us all back to be in touch with our planet, our earth, and each other, and helping each other, and eating good quality, top quality, organic food.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on and letting
Thank you,
us
guys.
hear your story.
Thank you very
Our
much for
pleasure.
having us. It's really a
Yeah.
pleasure to be here. Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next week.